Rachel, welcome to the show. I am very excited to chat with you. We recently did a conversation on your podcast, and it's just like, all right, cool. I'm getting all this Rachel time. This is great. I'm loving it.
I know. I love it. I'm so excited to do a little swap here too. And like we were just saying, I feel like we just were chatting together and yeah, it's so fun talking to you. So I think this is going to be a fun episode.
I think so too. And I think it's going to be a very eye-opening episode to a lot of people too, because we're talking about marketing outside of social media. And I know that Instagram is like bread and butter for so many people's marketing efforts, which I am like the outlier there, which I've received a handful of Instagram like DM inquiries, and most of my stuff comes through my website. So I'm always, whenever people are asking about like stuff outside of social media, I'm like, that's all that I really do. I'm sorry. So yeah, I'm really excited. I think this is going to be a really beneficial conversation for the listeners today. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for coming on the show. I'm excited to chat.
me too. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So, give everyone just like a little brief bio about you, where you're based, what you do, what you love, photographing, teaching, all those things.
Yes. So my name is Rachel Traxler. I am a Wisconsin wedding photographer based in Wisconsin. I kind of do stuff all over, but based in Wisconsin, I'm also a photography business coach, and I've kind of made that switch over there too. So just being able to support photographers through coaching and just helping them elevate the back end of their business and the marketing side and the connection side. I love that. That's kind of my jam. And yeah, that's kind of just a brief little outline of like who I am. I've been photographing weddings for 10 plus years now, I guess. Over a decade I've been in the industry, which is wild. It makes me feel really old.
I know, me too.
Like what? How did that happen? But that's really exciting. And so it's been really fun, I think, for me to switch my energy into helping serve almost like the next generation of photographers, because I look at, just how people are starting nowadays and like starting their businesses. And I think that's just such a fun and exciting time. And I like to help people with things that I certainly didn't have when we started. I feel like education wasn't a huge thing when I first got started. And heck, I delivered my photos on CDs, you know what I mean, when I got started. So it's been a while.
Yeah, it's crazy how things have changed in the industry just in the last 10 years. Because I was right there with you, delivering images on CDs, and like had a whole like where you could print out from your printer the cover that goes on the front of the CD, so that it had like the couple's name. And it was like so sketch. It did not look good at all. But I was like, they're going to love this. This is so great.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about those, John. You're bringing back memories.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we went to USBs, and now it's just like, here is your online gallery.
Digital, man.
Digital. Just take it and go do as you please. Please print them and put them up around your house.
I love it.
Yeah, it's crazy. One, like you said, it makes me feel old. Just being like, oh yeah, I've been a wedding photographer for over 10 years now. And I still, in my mind, feel like I'm 24, and not 34.
Same.
So that thing is different, but also like the trends and the styles have changed so much. There's no more selective color. I don't know if you ever did that, but I dipped into that where I'm like, everything is black and white, but then this green sash is going to be green in the photo.
Yes. I was like, what's selective color? Yup, it just clicked for me. Gosh, John, you're bringing back all these flashbacks I was trying to forget and never remember again.
I know. Yeah, those are things that we don't need to talk about those ever again. Let's move forward.
So funny.
Yeah. So, okay, Rachel, I'm excited about this topic about marketing. And I know a lot of people, we're talking about marketing outside of social media. And I know a lot of people from, talking to photographers, a lot of photographers get their marketing efforts go into social media, either Instagram or TikTok or what have you. I don't know if anyone really does Facebook anymore. It's kind of going the way of MySpace. But can you tell us like maybe like why we should even focus on marketing outside of social media?
Yeah, I love this topic too because I think it's an unpopular one because I think everybody kind of runs to Instagram with things. And it's fun to kind of talk about this too because
Hmm.
obviously 10 years ago when we were starting, our marketing strategy was way different than it is now. Like back then, all you really needed to
Yeah.
do was create a blog post and you're good. And that's,
Right.
like I don't know, there was so many, it was different marketing strategies back then. So I think it's been really fun to grow with them in the industry, grow as, um, you know, just social media gets bigger, all these things with growth strategies. But I think personally, the reason I love marketing outside of social media is because and I want to be clear on something too. Social media is a very powerful and beautiful tool. Like it's been a huge blessing for all of our businesses as much as everybody complains about it. It's been a huge blessing.
Right.
And so I think that's one thing too that people need to shift their focus and mindset around social media and use it as like a blessing to their business versus something, excuse me, that they feel like they're falling victim to with like the algorithm. You know what I mean? And so I
Yes.
think if you can shift your mindset to that, that's just going to make social media fun. Like just show up. And social media really is a place that you can connect with people, make relationships, kind of showcase stuff. You don't, and I think some people kind of approach it as feeling like they need to sell all the time. And then it gets kind of
Hmm.
frustrating when they're like, this isn't really working. But if I'm being honest too, like I don't know about you. I mean, I know you're a dad as well and a parent, and I have a baby, and I'm literally about to have a baby any day now. So that's why I'm like huffing and
Right.
puffing for air over here. Um, but I mean, I don't have time necessarily to be on social media all day because I feel like if you're not on top of it and you don't have things planned and you don't have a consistent game plan for what your content strategy is going to be and all this stuff, it is so easy to just fall behind. You know what I mean? If you're not showing up every
Oh yeah.
single day and life happens. And so I think when you're relying on one type of lead generation strategy that requires your real time attention and real time energy, you're kind of just setting yourself up for failure, to be honest. And so I'm a huge believer in that. Okay, yes, if social media is your biggest lead generator, let's look at that and let's see how we can leverage that. But I'm a huge believer in that you need to have at least one or two other lead generation strategies that do not require your every single day attention. That way you can have inquiries coming in and funneling in on the back end for you, even when you're, taking a week off or like, on vacation or something like that. Those inquiries are still going to come in, even if you're not posting and being present on social media. So I think that's in short the
Yes.
power of having a separate social, separate lead generation strategy.
Yes, I agree. There's like you mentioned that with social media and like having where you're there every single day and trying to show up every single day, and if you miss that, you just feel like you have to stop. Because I'm that way where if I have a strategy and I'm like, okay, I'm going to show up every single day and then I miss one of those, then I'm just like, okay, well, what's the point of even jumping back in here and doing the rest? And hold on just a second because my
You're
my
fine.
4-year-old just walked in the room. All right. Not right now, but you can as soon as I stop talking with Miss Rachel. You can come in here and exercise. You can go watch your show. The show changed to a different show. Okay. So can you turn it back to my Yes. I'll be in there in just a little bit.
She's so
Okay.
cute. Oh my goodness.
The joy she's super cute. That was like she loves anything sparkly, so that sparkle dress is like her third outfit change of the day,
I love
and
that.
we're just now like early afternoon.
Life of
But
having a
yeah,
daughter.
this is the life of having a daughter. Oh yes. And I've got two of them, and the youngest, she just turned 2 and she's already in that like I'm going to change outfits now. And
Oh, I
like
love it.
our middle child there, she is like, I'm going to change her outfit because she
Oh
needs
my
to match
goodness.
me.
So
So
fun.
it is fun. But yeah,
Mhm.
and I also love that I'm able to, the joys of working from home and just
Isn't it a
being
blessing?
here.
Honestly.
It's so
I
great.
love
Yeah.
that so much.
I know a lot of people would be like embarrassed, like, oh my gosh, my kid just walked in the middle of this podcast, but I'm like, yeah, no, this is life. I'm probably going to cut it out of the audio just because people don't
Right.
need to ask or
Right.
hear her asking for a show. But like, it's real life, and it's real good.
Exactly. I love it, and it's a big
But
blessing. So, yeah.
it is a huge blessing. But like I was saying, I love that you were mentioning that about how when you have multiple avenues of marketing, you don't have to be in one every single day, because you that does lead to burnout. And that, I mean, that I've gotten burned out on Instagram many times, where like I go through seasons of just like, ooh, I'm gonna post a reel every day, and I'm just gonna have fun, and it is joyful, and like I'm getting energy from it. And then other seasons where I'm just like, I don't even want to show up in my stories right now.
Mhm.
I can't do this. I need a break.
Yep.
And having those multiple avenues is very helpful in those slow seasons.
Yeah, and I think there's just so much. I mean, it's we live in a different time because we live in a time of a very digital world and stuff, and this
Yeah.
pressure on us, and especially it's hard as a business owner where it's like we run our businesses online, and we have this pressure to show up even when we don't feel like it. You know, these gurus are saying like, you know, social like these social media gurus who are like awesome at social media, and they are so good at it, and saying like show up when you don't want to and do all these things, but you know, sometimes it's like there's just so much. We live in a time where it's just so much pressure to have to, and we shouldn't have to either, you know, if we don't
Yeah.
want to. And I think it's really important to note too of just analyzing where your biggest lead generator is coming from. Like, what does that look like? And like, what if it isn't Instagram, or what if Instagram's maybe one of your top two? Can you dabble into another one to make that stronger so you don't have to be showing up on social media every day? And I also think
Mhm.
everyone asks, like, well, how often should I be posting on social media? Should I be making 5 reels a week? Should I be showing up on my stories 10 times a day, or whatever these requirements are? But the truth is, in my opinion, is that nobody can really tell you how many times you need to post, because maybe I am taking a little bit of a social media break because my other lead generations are so strong for me. I'm getting those leads. So I don't feel
Yeah.
like I need to be on on Instagram and social media as much, because I'm still hitting my goals and I'm still getting my leads in. And that therefore I can kind of step back and take a little break from being in like that real time stuff. And you said something, John, too, that I love. It's like, that's even like my TikTok bio. I have like a fun TikTok and like a photography TikTok, but it's in
Uh-huh.
my like fun personal one. It's just like here when it feels fun, because I don't put pressure on myself. I'm like, if I'm posting a video here, it's because I'm just genuinely, I enjoyed making it and I want to share it and I'm just having fun. And I feel like that's typically when people see the most connection on like social medias anyways. And I think,
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know, I'm saying this from experience because sometimes I approach Instagram as a business program. Like, you know what I mean? Like opening Honeybook. Okay, what's my tasks today? Opening up Asana. Okay, Instagram. What am I? Because
Right.
I'm very intentional. I do not sit and scroll Instagram. Like I just do not. And
No,
so I'm very
I
intentional about
I
my
do that
time
on
there.
TikTok.
Well, yeah.
TikTok is, yeah, it just sucks my time, and I love
Yeah.
it. I know
Yeah.
that
It's like a
it's not
guilty
good for me.
pleasure.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, but these videos of these puppies doing funny things, this is the best.
Yes, but
And
that's
yeah,
different. That's different though. That's
it
like
is
your
different.
wind down time of like, oh, I can just enjoy like
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
mindless watching, almost like TV.
Uh-huh.
Whereas like I think a lot of people just consume all of this
Hmm.
business content that they forget that they should be creating too, and they should be like building their business. And so it's really easy to kind of get sucked in there. And then like obviously the comparison game starts and all this stuff. And
Oh
so
yeah.
you know what I mean? I think being very intentional about your time on social media is a huge boundary I set for myself that really helped too.
I think so too. I did the same thing. I know I just said that I scroll mindlessly on TikTok, but I do set boundaries on how long I'm gonna do that. I'm like, okay, I've got 10 minutes. I just want to relax. Let me sit
Mhm.
down. I'm just gonna scroll, like a few videos, maybe comment. You know, Elise Myers is always the best,
Yeah.
and you know, just
Yes.
go through all these things. And then at the end of that 10 minutes, I'm like, all right, cool. I feel good. And setting those boundaries, I think, is huge. And like you mentioned with Instagram definitely feels more business like to me, because that's what I do on there. I get on
Hmm.
there and I share my photos. I share, educational reels for other photographers. I'm doing that kind of business work whenever I'm on there. I'm less scrolling and seeing pictures of what my friends ate for brunch on Saturday. Like
Yeah.
that's on my personal Instagram that I don't honestly don't log into very often because Instagram feels like business because it has
Hmm.
become business
Yes.
uh, for the longest time. But so you mentioned having a couple of other avenues of lead generation where you can market. What are some of those avenues? If someone's listening, they're like, okay, I've got all of my eggs in
Hmm.
this Instagram basket or social media basket. Where can I even put a couple others to help grow those different avenues?
Yes, that's like, what do I do? I do all my stuff on Instagram. And I think it's a question
Right.
for people to kind of reflect and just say, okay, where are my biggest lead generators? Because it should be something that's on your contact form and you're collecting where you're getting your leads from and stuff. So I
Mm-hmm.
would look back at your analytics and figure out, okay, what are my top three biggest lead generators right now? Not saying that those always have to be your top three. My top three have changed, and they do change depending on season, depending on how much effort I'm putting into certain things. Something that's remained really high for me is obviously like just referrals and stuff, because I think that's important of having a really solid client experience. And so having
Yes.
referrals, but also just having a good referral system and stuff too. Just because you never know where someone's coming into your world with things and like what's being said about it, what their first impression of you, what like lasting impression you're leaving on them. So much goes into that. And I think all of that falls kind of under client experience. But one to stay really true, like in the top for me, has really been like vendor connections and vendor referrals, specifically like venues and stuff.
Yeah.
So I know, because I mean, couples are touring venues every single week, every single day. And we don't know that. Like I'm just chilling, I'm taking the day off, and a couple took off work to go tour a venue and I'm top of their list and I get an inquiry for it. It's stuff like that where, you know, we don't have to be working real time where people see our posts on social media and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to inquire with them. Because it used to be where I would just post on social media and like without a doubt, without fail, I'd get an inquiry that day, like when I posted.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's
Yeah.
like, it's different a little bit just because you just can't control the route people are taking on social media, what they get distracted, all those things. So I say vendor connections and vendor referrals. So obviously like venues are really big. I think something that people sleep on a ton too is like working with other photographers and like kind of getting in a group of like one photographer, two or three, maybe smaller group. I think would be good. Even just one other photographer, even offering like a photographer kickback too, to be like, okay, John, I obviously can't take all of these weddings that
Mm-hmm.
I get. And I know that you
Yeah.
also, we have aligned clients and you want this client, and I know we're in the area, just for example's sake. So if I, or vice versa, if I wanted some inquiries of yours, I could say, okay, John, I'm going to give you a 5% kickback referral of any wedding you send my way that books with me for referring me. And then kind of give you a range of like, my packages typically range from this to this. So this is a typical range of what like a percentage kickback I would send to you if I get a booked wedding through there, you know? And I think that's a really good technique to use like for local vendors and photographer friends. If you want to get into travel, you can like hook up with people that are in areas that you really, really want to photograph and like switch weddings back and forth.
Yeah.
And I think adding an incentive into it, that's why I like doing like the kickback thing, just because I tried like, referrals, and I still get tons of referrals from other photographers too, which is awesome. But like sometimes that you need that extra little incentive to get that going, especially if they're not like, you don't have a really, really strong relationship with them yet, or you're still building that connection. There's tons of
Yeah.
ways to do
And
that.
and that's also, yeah, and it's like it's helpful for them where you're like, yeah, I'll give you a kickback. It gives them incentive to
Mhm.
actually put that email together, and send it back instead of just being like, oh yeah, sorry, I'm booked. And then that couple is now back into the ocean and they're trying to find another fish. And instead they're like, hey, this is where this fish hangs out. Go over here and hang out with her. And like that, it does take effort on their part to send you that referral. So that little kickback is like I see that less of a like business transaction and more of like a thank you of like we are building each other up. You're helping me grow my business, fill in some dates that maybe I didn't have that you had. And now we can both grow because I'm going to be kicking people your way and you're kicking people my way. And we're both growing our businesses instead of, and also you're building that client experience for that couple, because even if they don't end up booking with you, you send them to someone else and they don't end up booking with them, you're at least showing them I'm a professional and I'm also like I want to help you even though I can't photograph your wedding. I want to help you find someone that I know is going to be amazing for you. And that's going to go miles and miles for those clients. And
Yeah,
because I've
exactly.
had that happen before. Yeah, where like I referred someone to someone else and they ended up booking with that other person, but then whenever their friends got engaged, they were like, okay, we wanted John, he wasn't available, and he sent us to this other photographer who was amazing. Go see if you can get John, and if not, he's going to point you somewhere that you'll be able to. And I ended up booking that couple, and I was like, okay, this is great. Like, it wasn't my intention at the time. My intention was to help out my photographer
Hmm.
friend and to also help out the couple.
Yeah.
So
And
I love that. Yeah.
I love it too. And something you could do too, it's like, especially if you get like hooked up with another photographer friend and stuff, you guys can each just one time create a little template that you send to people. So it's not like you're, having to reinvent the wheel every time. So it's not like it's a ton of work on you, that you guys can each have kind of templates that are aligned with like, of what to say, and kind of maybe aligned with like if you were going to send it to someone, I would type something up for you that you can kind of like, we can infuse our message, like our brand voice together a little bit to,
Mm-hmm.
do that where it's not, it'd be an easy like email response if it's a no, you know
Yes.
what I mean? And so it's
Oh
taking
yeah.
the work off of them too. So offering that you can do that, that's huge too, just so you can kind of take that off of their plate a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I love the community aspect of a referral system because yeah, I'm huge into community and building others up, and not just other photographers, but building up venues and florists
Mm-hmm.
and all that, and like having a preferred vendor list. As there have definitely been times that I've added people to my preferred vendor list, and I let them know like, hey, I love working with you, and you're on my preferred vendor list that I send to all my couples now. And then they're like, oh, I don't even have one of those. And then they create one and put me on there because it was an idea that they got from me. And now we're working together all the time. And it's the best.
Yeah, I love that too. It's also too like finding those, vendors that you, like you said, you enjoy working with, you want to work with, all that stuff. If you
Mm-hmm.
haven't worked with them before, and you can just put them on your preferred vendor list, but something that I love doing too. I just reached out to a few people this week to do this as well, but like do guest blog posts too, so that like it helps build that SEO, but it also just like helps
Yeah.
you like, yes, build SEO for your area, but also partner together so people like couples can kind of see the potential of like, if they find this wedding planner and then they see this blog post that, oh, well, they worked really well with this photographer. And as if we're working together as the photographer, you probably are on their preferred vendor list and stuff like that too. So I think it's really important to do like guest blog posts. And again, the way you're approaching it with the way you're approaching like a photographer kickbacks is like referral system. You can say stuff like, would love to have you like feature you on my blog post. Like I will send you questions to answer, and then I'm going to craft the blog post for you and for us. So you really don't have to do much work. You know what I mean? Just answer the questions and I'll craft them to really highlight your services, and then highlight why you
Mm-hmm.
need to hire a wedding planner and why, and then I can kind of tie into like why my services work really well when I have a wedding planner, or something like that. You can leverage whatever that be. That could be makeup, it could be whatever vendor, could be a venue. And so that's a really good way to build some SEO, build that connection, and get you in front of like other people's audiences too, because I think that's something that people forget to leverage, is trying to get in front of your ideal clients and by using other people's audiences. So like venues, like other vendors, that type of thing, because they're going to share you and they're going to promote you, and their audience is probably looking for a photographer. So they're like, oh, hey, here they are. Like, and here's someone I
Right.
trust, and here's someone that they refer. So that's another way I think that you can create that solid funnel of inquiries that way too.
Yes, I think that is so smart to work off of other people's um, group, like area of influence, because you're like, okay, we have aligned target clients. Mine overlap with theirs very easily, so it just makes sense to not use them. I was going to say use them. That's not the right vernacular, but like it's good
Kind of
uh,
share your gifts
to
together.
partner with them.
Hmm.
Yeah. You share with them, and that's going to put them in front of your audience, who's also their target client. And then they're going to share with you, which will put them in, or you in front of, you get the point. You're getting in front
Yep.
of each other's audiences.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that's so good. And I love the guest blogs, where it is, that sounds just like hearing, oh, doing a guest blog on someone's blog or having someone on my blog, like I don't even know what to do. But you just talking about that, just sending them a few questions, and then you transcribe it just like a conversation on the blog, like that's going to be very useful, and that's going to hit your 300 word minimum pretty quickly,
And
just
easy
going
because they
through a
basically
couple
write it for
different
you.
questions.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
sorry, I
Yeah.
interrupted. I was going to say
That's
they
what I do
basically
with
write
my
it for
couples.
you. So exactly, yes, get those
Uh-huh.
testimonials, use that verbiage, and you basically can double that as like your own marketing strategy right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so referrals are a great place to go outside of social media. What's another place that we can market?
Well, I talked about vendor connections. I talked about vendor referrals. I talked
Yes.
about photographer kickbacks. I talked about blogging, which
Hmm.
helps with your SEO and stuff like that. So we've already hit four of them. The last one,
Oh
obviously,
yeah.
is another one. I know it's like Pinterest is kind of like, it's not really social media, but it kind of feels like one with like how much planning and stuff you have to go to it for it. And I know that
Hmm.
Pinterest is almost like, that's why I kind of have it last, because it's like it's a longer form game. It can feel like a social media with all the planning that goes into it and stuff. But when you use your keywords really strongly, you know what I mean? I think that can be really powerful and really beneficial in that way.
Oh
But
yeah.
I know that kind of feels like a social media, you know what I mean? And it's not like as quick of a win. We talked
Yeah.
about
Well,
like client experience too, which helps with
yes.
just
Yeah.
referrals and word of mouth and all of that too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And one thing about Pinterest is like it's great for repurposing content. So anything that you are posting on social media, you can turn around and put that onto Pinterest and use those keywords and really get out there, and it's going to live much longer on Pinterest. I still have a pin from a wedding 8 years ago that is constantly getting saved, and
Hmm.
it's got, I don't even know how many thousands of saves now, but it's out there, and it wasn't anything. I had no Pinterest strategy at that point in time, but anything on my Instagram from 8 years ago, there's no way that anyone is seeing that today.
Right.
Like even from like a month ago, probably no one's seeing that. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's like that lives so much longer. So I think that's really powerful too. And yeah, you can always repurpose, always redirect to different links, always pull different pictures, like all of that stuff. I think that's really powerful. And that's kind of another way too, like just making sure that your website is a really solid, like has a really solid funnel. Basically, because I know
yes,
sometimes, like, as I'm like auditing websites, I'm like, I don't see any type of funnel action going on here. Like, I don't see any type of lead strategy, like where am I supposed to go, like how am I supposed to get to you, and they're like, I'm not really getting inquiries. I'm like, I don't even know how to inquire with you. And like, you're not making
right,
it easy on me, and I don't have time as a potential client, you know what I mean, not me, but just like in general potential clients, they don't have time to like go through all those things. You need to make it so easy for them. And the hard part is that too, is that needs to happen from every single piece of content you have anywhere, because you never know where people's client experience is starting with you, because their client experience with you starts the second they hear your name, they come across you on social media, they land across your website, or they hear about you somewhere from somewhere. Like that's their first point of client experience with you. So how are you starting off on a really good foot with a first impression? And how are you leading them and funneling them into the call to action you're wanting to get them to, which for us as wedding photographers, we want to get them to fill out our contact form. And so making sure that
Yes.
everywhere you are, every piece of content has a solid lead funnel. Like, that's just sales funnel that's just driving people into your inbox.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there are so many photographer websites that I'm either auditing or just, going on to look for guests to be on the show, and there's like no calls to action on their homepage at all. And it's just like a page, and then I get to the bottom
Mhm.
of it, like, where am I supposed to go after this? And there's no funnel, there's no leading your viewer through what you want them to go to. And like, you should not have multiple clicks in order to get to your contact page. And yeah, I am right there with you 100%. I see
Yeah,
that
and you
way
know
too
what's
often.
bad? It's like too when there's no call to actions, and then you get to the bottom looking for one, and the only thing at the bottom is sending people back to their Instagram. It's like,
Right.
no, we wanted to send you here. Now we don't want to go back to Instagram and get distracted and all those things too. So
Oh
yeah, it
yeah.
is important what that funnel looks like.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. Rachel, I have loved this. This is like so many good things, and so many good reminders for myself, even of just like, yeah, I need to post on Pinterest more. I need to, I use Tailwind to schedule posts, so I'm not constantly on there. I just load that up with posts, and then I don't
Yeah.
have to think about it for like a month. But yeah, yes, go ahead.
I was gonna say I have another one that I totally forgot.
Oh,
But something too,
good. Yeah. Bonus.
yeah, and it's one of the bonus. It's one of those things too that kind of helps you elevate your client to be more of a premium client, I guess, if you say as well too. But I think people are so worried about marketing and finding new clients all the time that they kind of forget about the ones that they already have and the ones they already have booked, and how they can elevate them to be a more premium client and stuff. That we forget to use like the Honeybook feature, the feature in Honeybook that's like the batch email. Like if you want to send a batch
Mhm.
email to people and talk about, like, maybe you want to offer them a boudoir session or something like that, or integrating it into your nurture sequence in your workflow, in your photography workflow of, okay, here's how like I can elevate my client even and market, so you don't have to feel like you need to go out and find all new clients all the time. Speak to the ones you already have. It's like expand their minds on, okay, like I know we have this wedding booked. Here's the benefits of doing like a boudoir session or adding a boudoir session to here. You're probably shopping for like wedding party gifts and stuff like that. I made an Amazon, store link to all of my favorite like wedding party gifts that you could give to your couple, stuff like that. So it's like, there's ways,
Yeah.
or like offering like albums and stuff like that. And like, but putting that in like your nurture sequence of your workflow, I think is so important. And that's also another way that it's like, oh, cool, they want to add that. So like, that makes me feel like less of like, I need to market out and try to like book out my sessions. You know what I mean? Like book out more mini sessions or something like that. Cause I can just speak to and serve the clients I already have to kind of even like craft them into premium clients.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah, that is so good. That client nurturing sequence is just, it is gold, because that's giving them, like, elevating their client experience by sending them all of those things. And it's not so much like salesy stuff of just like, hey,
Not
this
at
is what I
all.
offer and you should add this. But it's like,
Nope.
hey, this is some things that will benefit you. Um, should you want this? And
Mhm.
like, go check out, like the Amazon link. I'm sure you have an affiliate code on there, you get a little bit of kickback or something. But it's not like, go check this out because it's a
Mhm.
affiliate and that's
Mhm.
what my target is. It's like, no, you put this together to serve them. And then there's also a way to get a little bit of a kickback on top of that, uh you know which is always good. So
Totally.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love anything that you can do. Yeah.
Yeah, because before I did that, I remember I had a couple clients where I'm like, I saw that they did like a boudoir session with someone, like another photographer I know, or like they did this. And I was like, dang, I'm like, I would have loved to do that. But I'm like, I never told them that I would. I never offered that to them. I
Yeah.
never served them with that option. So they had no idea. You know what I mean? So it's more so that type of thing of like, how can you expand their minds and kind of serve them in a way that, they don't know unless you tell them and you serve them with that. So I think that's kind of important to think about too, that you can market to your current clients so you don't feel like you need to find new clients all the time.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And like you said, they don't know unless you tell them. And the same thing with sharing online and on your website and social media and blogs and all of that is, if you're not talking about what you offer and the different offers that you have, people aren't going to know that you offer those things, and they're not going to book you for those.
Exactly.
So yeah. Oh, this has been great. I have really enjoyed getting to talk to you again, and this has been so informative for all of these things, which we'll have a breakdown of all this in the show notes for everyone. Before we wrap this up, there's a part of the show that I like to do where we talk about what we're loving this week, and it could be like a movie or a book or really anything. What is something that you are loving this week?
So it's more so like not this week, but just in general lately, I've just really taken to like trying to be more of a homemaker. So I really have
Mm,
enjoyed like making sourdough bread like from scratch and like making stuff like that. So that's something that has been something that I really enjoy and it's kind of like a fun little outlet. So that would be my little pocket of joy lately.
nice, nice. That is, we go through seasons of like really getting into baking and really getting into um, all those kinds of like home decor DIY stuff. And I feel like we're getting into one now that I mean, it's not warming up really. But we're almost to February, and
Right.
it's almost to the spring where we're kind of like getting into the motions of it's going to be spring soon and we can do all of these
Hmm.
things. And we have a long list of all the stuff that we want to do around the house. So
Love
I
it.
love that.
So fun. Fun little outlet.
Yeah. Very fun outlet. I am loving. Um, I'm really loving. We've had some cold weather as of lately, and I'm really loving the cooler weather, the fireplace weather,
Ooh,
the hot
yes.
chocolate. Just a minute,
Oh my goodness,
and
yes. Hot chocolate.
it's yes, yeah, hot chocolate. We get like this really good hot chocolate with like extra spices, and it's really really tasty. It's not just like a Swiss Miss type creamy rich, but it's got like the cinnamon and the nutmeg, and
Oh yeah.
it's delicious. And just sitting there in front of the fire and like the sound of fire
I
crackling
know.
is one of my favorite sounds. I'm
Honestly, that's like
definitely
the one thing I'm
a
like, I
little bit
wish
of a
our house had a
pyro.
fireplace. Yeah, it's because it's like something so peaceful
Yeah.
about sitting in front of a fireplace.
Oh yeah. 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 Fire and water are just like they're my favorite sounds. Like a beach, just the
So
waves coming
peaceful.
in, and then just a fire crackling in a fire pit or whatever. I love it. Well, but yeah, okay, cool. Rachel, let us know where we can follow you. Where can people connect with you? Where can people listen to your podcast? All of the things.
Yes. So my podcast is called the Gold Biz Podcast. And so really fun because John was just on mine podcast recently. So it'd be fun to go
Yay!
listen to his episode because that was a really fun one. Otherwise, you
It
can
was.
find me at my website is racheltraxler.com. Or if you want to follow me on social media, it's just at Rachel Traxler. So a few different options there. And yeah, I'd love to connect. So feel free to DM me any questions or anything.
Sweet. Awesome. Yeah. And I will have all those links in the show notes as well. So y'all can just click on over and follow Rachel and say hey. And yeah, I loved this conversation and getting to talk with you. This was a joy. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, so fun. Thanks so much, John. I just loved it.